Hey everyone, my name is Ben. If you run a marketing agency and you deliver amazing results for your clients, but you struggle to grow your own sales pipeline, this is for you. Maybe you have tried cold emails, but you haven't had any luck. Referrals are slowing down, ads feel too expensive, or outreach just hasn't delivered the results that you hoped for. By the end of this video, I'm actually going to show you an automated cold email system that can generate 5 to 20 qualified sales calls per month and help you sign 3 to 5 new clients within the next 90 days. So, in case we haven't met yet, my name is Ben, and I'm the founder of Inbox Pro. Before starting this business, I spent 5 years working alongside marketing teams in luxury retail and running my own Amazon business. Here's the biggest problem I actually noticed while doing these. Marketing agencies, they're already good at what they do. They're already excellent at marketing, but they actually struggle to fill their calendars with qualified calls. And without consistent calls or meetings, you simply can't grow your sales pipeline. So, who is this for? Number one, you run a marketing or advertising business and you're looking for new clients. Number two, you want an automated system that generates 5 to 20 qualified sales calls every single month. And lastly, you have the capacity to sign 3 to 5 new clients within the next 90 days. So, you might be asking yourself, why cold email still in 2026, right? Who is cold emailing still? Well, studies show that cold email is actually one of the most effective B2B lead generation channels to this day. Think the world's largest companies, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, these are all publicly traded companies, and they actually use cold email as a primary first touch point in their sales process. And I know this firsthand because when I worked alongside Amazon's marketing team, this was actually one of the first things that they recommended and taught to us. So here are kind of some statistics that I took off Google that says, a smart email or a good email, it actually equals 50% more leads, 33% lower costs, and up to a 42% ROI compared to other outbound systems. And here's another one. Cold emailing isn't just alive in 2026, it's actually thriving. Why? Because other channels are getting noisier and more expensive. LinkedIn is flooded with automation, ad costs keep rising, and good luck getting through anyone's office phone, as they would say. So here's actually a quote that I included from Nike, which says, "Your job isn't done until the job is done." Meaning, no matter how good your emails are, if they're simply not getting read, your job isn't done. So here's the reality for most marketing agencies. You probably have already tried cold emails yourself, or you might have worked with another agency in the past and you guys haven't had any success. Here's why it didn't work out. Number one is bad targeting. You're not targeting your ideal customer profile. You're blasting emails to people who just simply don't care. So as an example of this is, let's say you're a marketing agency and you want to target e-com brands, but your emails are actually landing in realtors' inboxes, right? Those campaigns are meant for e-com brands. It's not going to correlate. So those retailers are simply just going to delete, or they simply might even report your email. And then we have decision makers. We want to reach people who actually can make the decisions for the company. Next, we have poor deliverability. Your emails are landing in the spam, they're getting in the junk, or they're simply getting bounced. This will actually hurt the email's deliverability rate to land in the primary inbox. And if your emails aren't landing in the primary inbox, they're simply not going to get replied to, or even worse, they're not even going to get seen. And then we have emails that sound generic. There's no personality behind it. People nowadays can tell when it's just a robot. People can tell when it's just a copy and paste ChatGPT email that you're sending to thousands of people. People want to think this is just a one-on-one kind of email that you send personalized for them. And then we have no system. There's no inbox management. You're not tracking your open rate, your replies, your booked calls, and then you're not following up with your leads. Most replies actually come after the second or third reply, not just your first attempt. And then you're not tweaking your campaigns. You're not seeing what actually worked, what didn't work, and just fixing them accordingly. So here's actually another statistic that I took from Google, which says approximately 1 in 5, which is roughly 20% to nearly 50% of cold emails, they actually land in spam folders. And you can kind of read the rest of this. I just want to skip to the bottom here, where it says, a proper setup can actually secure over 80% deliverability, meaning if you are doing everything right, 80% of your emails should land in the primary inbox. So here's actually a step-by-step process on how this works and how we can kind of implement this for you. So first is we want to target the right people, right? This is what we like to call the foundation stage. So we want to define your ideal client. This is what we like to call the ICP. So we want to identify the industry, the company size, and the decision maker. Then we want to identify the exact problems that we are solving for them. And then we're going to build a clean verified lead list using various tools. And we're going to prioritize accuracy to reduce the bounces and increase replies. After that, we want to make sure your emails are getting seen and read. This is what we call the execution phase. So we're going to warm up your domains and inboxes to protect deliverability for 14 days, and yes, this will take 14 days to do. We want to make sure that your emails are landing in the primary inbox and they're not getting sent to junk. And then we're going to craft a 3 to 5 email sequence that's short, personalized, and value driven. We want to focus on relevance, not just selling them on something. We want to show that we actually understand their problems. And then sending volume. At the end of the day, it is a numbers game, so the more emails we send, the more replies we will actually get. And then we're going to convert replies into meetings. This is what we call it the optimization stage. So we want to follow up strategically to warm leads over time. We want to share like content or case studies to build trust before the call. Because people are going to see these emails and they're going to think stranger danger, right? They're already not going to like you. So by doing this, we can kind of gain that little bit of trust. And then we're going to track your open rates, reply rates, and your booked meetings. And then we're going to continuously tweak your subject lines, copy, and targeting based on data. So here's actually an automated funnel. So we have your foundation, the execution, optimization, and then your automation funnel. Within the automated sales funnel, we actually have a VSL. And I'm actually doing an intro of VSL right now I'm essentially warming you up, which is a video sales letter. I'm actually putting a face and a voice to behind what I'm actually doing. And I'm sure when you hop on calls, people forget who you are, what you do. So what if you're actually able to do this all within inside the VSL and answer all these questions and just send it out to everyone? And then we have calendar booking. We don't want to go back and forth seeing when you're available or not. We want to simply have a shared calendar and we'll book these calls based on your availability. And then a qualifying questionnaire. We simply just want to understand who your leads are. And then quality refinement and then pre-qualification. So once we actually narrow down your leads, we want to get a better understanding of who they actually are and who they say they are. And then refinement. We want to get your feedback. We want this to be a long-lasting relationship. So we generally appreciate feedback. Then we have your lead quality and sales calls review. This is something we can actually do weekly or bi-weekly. It's your choice. But we basically just want to hop on a call explaining everything that we've done and just catch up on any sales that we need to talk about. Here is a monitor conversion rates. So we actually want to track your open rate, your booked calls that you're getting, seeing what's actually working, what's not working. And then we want to do your A and B testing, so trying out different types of campaigns and then just fixing any problems within those campaigns. So here's actually a done for you offer. We're going to build an entire cold email system for you. You don't need to lift a finger. We will handle the targeting and lead list setup, the email sequence creation, and the deliverability and inbox management. So instead of actually spending months, maybe even years trying to crack the code yourself, we'll implement this system from day one that actually helps you start booking calls. So here are actually some numbers that I included, and this is basically based off some personal data and also research. So for every 1,200 emails, that typically is 1 call booked. For every 1,300 emails, that is 2 to 5 positive replies. So let's say, for example, your agency wants to get 20 calls booked for that month, and we times that by 1,200 emails, that is 24,000 emails sent that month. And let's say out of those 20 calls booked, you have a 75% show up rate because we know everyone's not going to show up to every single call. So that is actually 15 show ups. And let's say we have a 25% closing rate, which is actually very low. That is already 3 new clients within that month. So are you ready to see how this actually works for your agency? You can click the link below to schedule a strategy call, but I'll be upfront, we only want to work with agencies that actually have a serious growth plan in place, because just like you guys, we are a real business too. And there's simply no pressure. We simply want to explore whether this system is the right fit for you. And on this call, here are some kind of things we'll actually talk about. We'll learn about your business and your current lead generation efforts, review what you've already tried and why it didn't work, and then create a custom strategy to generate 5 to 20 qualified sales calls every single month for you. If you have any questions, the contact info is in my bio, or you can book a call now to get started today. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. Take care.